this editor to tell you what to write about. Photography, illustrations, and visual art will also be considered for publication. It'll be accepted through January 21st. You can find their website at diddlenab.com/femraglitmag, or email the editor at editors@femraglitmag.com. So that one's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
It's not really something I can necessarily submit to, but it's something.
You got canceled.
I've been canceled. I guess this is my only episode of the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the last episode, actually. Sorry, guys.
Well, yeah, it's taken over.
Yeah.
Bye,
everyone.
The next one I found is a poetry contest. It's putting on. I don't know how to pronounce this. It's either Boink.
Oh yeah, these guys.
Or B-Oink. There's like parentheses around the B.
Yeah, it's Boink.
Okay. A journal that seeks to find in-your-face writing that is experimental, gut-wrenching, terrifying, stultifying, breakneck speed, sex-driven, wishing out, or secretive writing. It's all-inclusive. It's an interesting small independent magazine in New York, I believe. This new one is their new poetry contest, Postcard Poetry. It'll be edited by their poetry editor, Samuel Fox. And basically the gist of it is you have to write a poem, 1 page or less, that uses the front and back of a postcard as the prompt.
Mm-hmm. I've had this one pulled up on my internet server for a very long time. I'm very interested in submitting to this, so it looks like a really, really nifty contest.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's they want normal rules, 12-point font. It has to be 1 page or less. Anything longer than that, you'll be disqualified. They have suggested postcards on their website at boinkzine.com. It doesn't matter if you sent it or if it was sent by someone else or if you're the one receiving it. It's completely up to you, but it's super open-ended. What kind of drove you to, why do you like this one, Celia?
I really enjoy prompted contests, which I understand a lot of people can see as limiting, and sometimes I do too, but right now, for example, looking at some of the postcards that Boink is suggesting, I mean, art can really, really do a lot for poetry, and pairing a particular poem with the picture that they've got now that I'm looking at, that is a young individual half submerged in water. I mean, you can think of both literary allusions to make to that, but you can also just transform it in so many ways. I really enjoy that kind of thing. There was another magazine that did something similar that I can't recall the name of right now, but I find those contests really appealing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like when there's a prompt of some kind too. Maybe I'm just not very good at coming up with stuff off the top of my head, but I don't know. I always enjoy taking a prompt and then just running with it. Just finding my own way to transform it or manipulate it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, sometimes when something's super duper wide open, your brain gets too caught up in trying to think of every possibility.
Right, yeah, you're like, well, what can I do for it? I don't have a starting point.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Well, if you want to submit to this, or Celia, when you do submit to this, you will not only be, if you win, or if you're accepted, you'll not only be published, but you also receive, if you want, a box of shit.
I love boxes of shit.
And I don't know if that is a euphemism for just a bunch of freebies, or whether it's in the literal sense, and they have a very pig theme on their website, so maybe they send you a actual box of feces. I'm not sure which is which, or if that is a good payment for try to put on your resume, I guess. Taking
a page from Cards Against Humanity there, I see.
I guess. So So the last one, this one's kind of interesting. Oh, and they're accepting until the 21st, I believe.
21st of January?
Yes.
Cool.
All of these have deadlines between now and we'll be recording in a couple weeks for our next episode. So this is filling in the gap between then and now. As I said, none of them have any fee. I'm also using Submittable as my source for a lot of these. That's my favorite resource for finding things to publish in. I don't know what you guys use.
I'd never heard of that, actually.
Yeah, it's we might talk about Submittable in the future.
Cool.
Oh yeah, Submittable's great.
Yeah. It's actually what the literary journal I work on uses for theirs. So, you can apply to MFA programs on there. It's the new frontier. But the
this episode's sponsored by Submittable.
Hint.
That'd be nice.
Thanks, Submittable.
Oh man. Goals. Hashtag
Yes.
goals. So the final one is it's a more open-ended request. It's from Operating System. They're a independent women and LGBT run press in Brooklyn. They describe themselves as a small press, arts organization, and online platform / magazine. They put out a 4 chapbook series every year since 2013. And they publish sort of underrepresented and really look to empower people who are sometimes left behind by the publishing industry. They have an online shop and everything. They're a whole big deal. Their current thing, though, is their big one right now is it's called Experimental Speculative Poetics.
Ooh.
It's being spearheaded by Kenyatta J.P. Garcia and will focus on new approaches to speculative poetry, as speculative poetry is arguably one of the oldest forms of poetry. Their reasoning is that Gilgamesh is speculative poetry.
Hell yeah.
Fair enough.
They're interested in seeing speculative poetry, but with an experimental twist. They want sci-fi, fantasy, Afrofuturism, magical realism, retrofutures, weird westerns, paranormal, supernatural, superhero, fairy tales, southern and ethnic gothic imaginings, but with a fresher take. Postmodernist, modernists, Dada, surrealism, Oulipo, uncreative writing, erasures, push the boundaries of innovation while wandering through many realms and dimensions of the often unexplainable.
Into it.
Basically, just get weird. Poetics is understood broadly here. Prose form, research-driven, hybrid, multimedia, and they're willing to answer any questions you might have because they're sort of accepting anything. But, looks like it's just trying to get weird. So they want 1 to 3 pages of work as a PDF or a .doc file, and then they want JPEGs or PNGs for images. They also would like when you submit, to send a little blurb about yourself, as with most of these. They can talk about you.
I wonder if I could submit a blacked out version of one of my research papers. That would be a good time.
That could be interesting. Yeah, and that's the thing about what you're gonna. That's the fun thing about the host series. We're each, I should have said this earlier, but we're each sort of bringing a different perspective to this whole writing thing because, as you know, I'm in a fully creative MFA program, and Celia is in a English literature MA program. With 2 different sides of it. And then Brigid is a currently 2-job working a normal person who is like most writers today, trying to be creative and work while also just getting by. The Right to Survive podcast is really for writers like Brigid, so I'm really happy that she's joining us.
Thank you.
But yeah, you're going to see references from Celia and I about our weird research and stuff.
I know I will personally try to keep the complaining to a minimum, but dang, guys.
What are you researching right now?
Ooh, that is a very long conversation. Let's just call it eco literature and leave it at that.
Cool.
We might have to do some English, especially as we get more into maybe MFA season, we might talk to some academics maybe and talk about research and stuff we've been working on.
Yeah, that'd be a good time.
But yeah, if you want to submit to the operating system, their website is squareup.com /market / the operating system. They've got a shop if you're really interested in some interesting chapbooks, or they even have just full books, a few of those. You can check them out. But there's no current deadline on the operating system. It's one of those, we'll take them until we're good. But as always, there'll be links to all three of these in the show notes for the episode. And I'll be tweeting about these. We'll be tweeting about these and others that we find in the future. Is there anything else you guys like to say?
I would actually...
You go ahead.
Okay, I would really quickly like to plug a new publication that I have seen circling on Twitter. It's called Corvid Queen, and it's accepting submissions that are original or retellings of feminist fairy tales. There is no submission fee, and they pay $5 to everybody they publish. There is no deadline, so kind of in the theme, Dan, of the lit magazines that you've found, these guys seem like they're looking for a lot of interesting feminist lit.
Yeah, so definitely check that one out if we do that. So yeah, well, I guess we can kind of
Wait, Brigid.
Bridget, I'm sorry.
I do have one I can plug actually that I
Sorry.
thought of. Some news from over here at IU. So Indiana Review, which is our literary journal here. I've interned with them before. I talked about that a bit in my interview with Dan last episode I was on. So Indiana Review and Indiana University Press are doing what's called the Blue Light Books Prize. And basically they're looking for submissions of short story collections right now. So if you have a short story collection that you're looking to get out there, this might be a good opportunity. This one does have a submission fee. It's $20, so that's unfortunate. But I thought I'd plug it since it's from our home university here. So
Yeah.
So they want manuscripts of 35,000 to 45,000 words. So about 140 to 180 double-spaced manuscript pages. And your prize would be a publication contract with IU Press and a prize of $2,000. And it's being judged by Samrat Upadhyay, who we all know and love. Samrat's a professor here at IU and author of many short story collections, and he's lovely. We love him. So that's super exciting.
I'm going to try my damnedest to get him on here at some point.
Do it. He's great.
That'd be wonderful.
I introduced him at a little gala we had for Indiana Review Online when I was editing that. And I was just like, oh my god, it's you. Hi. You're so cool. Submission window for this is submissions close on February 9th, so you have a bit of time to get your manuscript together. So yeah. And you can find that at indianareview.org /blue-light-books, or it's just on their front page, actually, right now at indianareview.org.
All right. Anything else? Are we good?
I think we're good.
Okay.
I'm good over here, yeah.
All right. Well, I'm really excited for the next year on this podcast. I'm really excited for all the writing that will get done, or writing we'll talk about doing, and all the writing
we'll wish we were doing.
We're totally writing.
Yeah.
I'm writing so much. It's not just fan fiction, I swear.
And all the writing that will hopefully be able to help inspire with this podcast. We've got guests lined up next few episodes. Some really interesting guests with some really interesting things to talk about. 2018 is going to be a big year, I think, for a lot of people, for